I can't stress that enough. But on the downside, who didn't have an amazing weekend in college football was the Tennessee Volunteers. The Volunteers had officially fired Butch Jones after the blowout loss to Missouri. I mean, poor Butch. Butch, he just died upon me. And one thing I don't understand about this is Butch. I was talking to my buddy, and my buddy, he always liked to mess with Butch. You know, it was always funny, a long story. We was in the club with Josh Dobbs, who was at the Peyton Manning Passing Academy, and he was in the club in Thibodeau, and we always clown about it. And, like, Butch Jones really found that young man and made that young man into a decent star at Tennessee. Then you also had people like Alvin Kamara, who really didn't get a lot of play time, but he was at Tennessee. Derek Barnett, he was at Tennessee. He had some talented players at Tennessee. There's no doubt in my mind. I look back at the schedule. They have a thriller game with Georgia Tech. Then the loss to Florida didn't really do no good because Florida, now look where Florida's at. Florida and Tennessee is in about the same spot. Then they lost to Kentucky. And, then the South Carolina loss, came down to the last play of the ball game. I mean, it's just so much wrong with Tennessee and Butch Jones. And Butch getting blown out to Missouri, who haven't been that good the last couple of seasons, 50-17. Look like he ain't got the team prepared. Like the team has no direction. The expectations was getting higher for Tennessee, and I don't think he took a program who really wasn't much of nothing for the last couple of seasons, and then now all of a sudden he brought a little life to him where the fans started to expect more. We should start making SEC championship runs. Like, there's no reason why we can't be in the SEC East championship. We can't win the SEC East and be in the SEC championship game. And Butch Jones did not live up to that expectation for sure. And now, looking at it, and like I said, I don't want to get too much details about it today, but looking at it now, coaching and the culture is starting to look so bad throughout the SEC, where this is not the only job, to me, the more very prestigious, because you look at, they're very, very great school, and they have great players that came out of Tennessee. One of the more prestigious jobs in the SEC that's open. Florida's going to be open. Tennessee's going to be open. Texas A&M going to be open. Mississippi State going to be open. I think Mullen going to leave and he's going to go to Florida. But regardless, Mississippi State, Ole Miss going to be open. And I'm going to get into my wild card factor later on in the week. But guys, coaching is not looking good in this conference right now. It almost looks like football is passing this conference by. And we're going to get into that later on in the week, but it's a shame that Tennessee has fired Butch Jones with only 2 games left in the season. Brady Hoke will be the interim coach to finish the year. What this means for Tennessee going forward, I read this morning that Tennessee already lost 4 recruits that Butch Jones recruited, and they already decommitted due to the firing of Butch Jones. That's probably more going to come for the poor Volunteers. Ain't no telling what else going to happen. But I honestly don't know at this point how to feel about the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm just hoping for the best for them because I really would love to see this program relevant back in the SEC East again to really make it more competitive. Tennessee's next opponent this week will be the LSU Tigers after they defeated Arkansas to win the boot. So I don't know how to feel about that one. I just hope it be a good game for them. That's all I can say about that one. Well, I don't do this too often, but man, when you're on a 7-game win streak, bro, you got to get that second line at least one time. The New Orleans Saints, baby, they took a ride down to Buffalo, New York. And I ain't going to sit up here and say I wasn't nervous about this game because I was. But the Saints handled their business 47-10 over the Buffalo Bills. No passing touchdowns. Second time this season, Drew Brees did not throw for any passing touchdowns. And also, no interceptions. All scores came on behalf of the run game. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm loving it though. I'm so in love that Drew Brees ain't passed the ball as many times over the years as he's done through the last 5, 6, 7 seasons. So shout out to the New Orleans Saints, who was officially 7-2, third in the NFC, first in the NFC South, and has 2 big tests on the weekend in the next 2 weeks coming forward. Really, actually, from here on out, here's when the playoff runs really start to matter. Like I said, the Saints did defeat the Buffalo Bills 47-10. Going forward, look what they have next week. They got the Washington Redskins taking a ride down to New Orleans at 12 o'clock. And then the following week is going to be the playoff implication week. It's a must-win because if you probably lose this game, if they stay hot, you might not be in the true contentions to stay in to get in that second spot. All depends on what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles. But Philly didn't play this week, but you play the Rams the following weekend. Now, this is what I was so excited about. The Saints did it, like I said, rushing the football. Drew Brees only passed for 184 yards. He didn't pass for 200 yards. And technically, if Chase Daniels didn't take a knee at the end of the game, the Saints would have had a total of 300 yards total on the ground. They finished the game with 298. So I round it up, that's 300 yards. They had 6 touchdowns, okay? Mark Ingram had 3. Alvin Kamara had 1. Drew Brees had 1. And Trey Edmonds had 1. Trey Edmonds, he came in the game and he had him a touchdown. Almost like Oprah was there. You know I like to mess with Oprah about you get a car, you get a car. Or hey, you get a rushing touchdown. You get one, you get one, you get one. Everybody get a rushing touchdown on yesterday. Not only to the fact that Michael Thomas had 9 catches for 117 yards. Solid, productive day for the second-year player out of Ohio State. So this leads me to my question. Are the Saints really contenders or are they pretenders? Now, after that performance, I must say, I'm sold over. I'm not saying they win the Super Bowl, but I will say this. They are truly contenders in the NFC. There's no doubt in my mind. Contenders. You got to give it to them. When you're looking at what's going on with the other teams, look at your division. Atlanta got a much-needed win yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is struggling now since Ezekiel Elliott's not there. Seattle lost Richard Sherman. Ain't no telling Earl Thomas coming back. So the defense starting to lose a couple of key pieces. Okay. Carolina, we're going to see what they're going to do today against the Miami Dolphins. If you could prove yourself that you could beat the Rams, and I'm not saying you're not going to blow the Rams out. It's going to be a tight game with the Rams. I think it's going to be an old school NFC West type game. Remember the Saints from the NFC West years ago. So I think it's going to be an old school NFC, rivalry game again. Meaningful game. If the Saints can beat the Rams, that will at least give the Saints that they beat a top 3 opponent in the NFC. Let's remember they did lose day 1 to the Minnesota Vikings. That Vikings game is starting to play key late in the season. It's sad to say, but it's true. But we're not going to focus on that too much, all right? If the Saints can beat the Rams, a top 3 opponent in the NFC, I believe that the Saints are going to be for real in the playoffs. Now, I looked at the schedule. I don't say the Saints win out for the rest of the year. No, I'm a sports fan. There's going to be a game where some things just not going to go right. I would love to see them win the next 2 weeks. I would love to see them win Carolina after that. I would love to see them beat Atlanta on a Thursday night. I feel like that's the game where they're going to have some problems because they've been beat up, and now they got to play a short week on a Thursday night against the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's going to be the game when they probably won't play up to their potential on December the 7th. On a Thursday night. Then they come back and they play the Jets, a Jets team who I had winning yesterday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They should handle their business against the Jets. I believe they'll beat the Falcons on Christmas Eve, and it all depends on what the rest of the NFC is doing. I think they'll lose against Tampa Bay because I think hopefully by then they won't have to play none of their starters and let them sit for the playoffs. That's what I'm hoping. I know I can become very, very off about that, but that's what I'm hoping going forward. So I got them losing 2 more games. So I think 12-4 was very, very, very solid, productive season compared, especially what happened the first 2 weeks when everybody was just getting touchdowns for free. Like you didn't have to work for it. Y'all was been like with a female who just give it up to you so easy. I mean, man, all you had to do is have one conversation. She pulling her pants down. That's too easy. It's just too easy. I know Ric Flair like that. You know what I'm saying? But all jokes aside, it was too easy on defense. Defense was just giving it up. And then all of a sudden they got it together. They started playing better football, playing better team football, better communication. One thing I did like yesterday was Kenny Vaccaro did not play yesterday, and that defense still had great communication. A.J. Klein got hurt in that game. Manti Te'o took over the majority of the role at the end of that for the majority of the rest of that game. Manti Te'o did not lose a step. The communication was there. Chemistry is being built. And I'm going to go on to a limit. I'm going to say this. If this team could just add a few more pieces, like maybe on the defensive line, you can't never have enough corners or the secondary players. I think the linebacker core is solid. Shout out to the linebacker core. They've been real solid ever since that first couple of weeks of the season. But this team can at least add some more corners and some more defensive line help. And this communication stay like this for the next couple of years, oh, man. Bruh, it don't matter. Even if Drew Brees don't come back, and let's just say they will sign somebody like a Kirk Cousins or something like that, who's still a very productive player. The defense going to keep this team alive for the next 5 years. Probably longer than that for sure. But I believe Drew Brees, since he's made his case, to at least get another 2-year contract from the New Orleans Saints. For sure, going forward. But one thing I do agree with some of my friends that talked to me was the weakest position on offense. Because you got to look at it like this. Andrew Shapiro is playing like an all-pro. He's been digging a lot of people out and making a lot of big holes on the left side of that offensive line. Ryan Ramczyk will be first-team all-rookie at right tackle. Probably at both tackles, because he did play both tackles. He was very solid. But he probably going to be at right because now he's playing right. I think he's going to be a future all-pro. Not now, but probably for the years to come. This is the best offensive line since the Saints had since the Super Bowl year. I think this is better than the one they had in the Super Bowl year because these guys are maulers. And now the chemistry is starting to get there. The weakest position up front for the Saints on offense is tight end. It's starting to show. Now, granted, the Saints are getting it done any kind of way you wanted to do it. I would love to see the Saints go out and get them Jimmy Graham-style tight ends one more time. And I think that will eventually really put you over the edge to really be a true contender year in and year out. Because I think that's the only thing that they're missing. They don't have the speedy. And another thing I did see, I forgot to mention, yards after catch. The receivers don't make a lot of people miss. They're not really fast guys. They're possession guys. That's one thing you miss about Brandon Cooks. He had a lot of yards after catch. He could run away from people. I think I would love to see him get some more people like that. I mean, Ted Ginn probably is that guy that would do that for you, but I don't think he's not an everyday guy that could do that for you. I would love to see a young person come in and do that for the Saints. Yards after catch. Take it, turn up, and run down the field. Make a person miss and make some run down the field. I would love to see him do that more and more often. But I'm very satisfied with this team. I'm loving this team right now. I'm just want the best for this football team for the rest of the year. I officially got them going 12-4. Solid, productive year. And making a run. Potentially having a chance to be the second seed in the NFC. Host a home game against possibly somebody like if Minnesota do fall back, play Minnesota. I think you see a different team than what you saw week 1. And you never know where you can go from there. I think this is a better football team and truly a contender in the NFC in general. I think they win their conference, and that's about it. That's a wrap, guys. I think that the Saints are here, and the Saints are trying to make a statement for the next couple of years on defense to show that we're no longer a slapovers, and we want to add pieces to make this defense better. So shout out to the Saints. who was having a heck of a football season, who turned it around